The most insane punishments during the Middle Ages. From public humiliation to torture, the punishments during the Middle Ages time period were often extreme and cruel. Did you know that people could be punished for simply being poor? During this time period, poverty was seen as a crime, and those who were unable to pay their debts could be thrown into prison. Let's explore some of the most insane punishments used during this time period. Torture was considered a legal method of extracting confessions, punishing criminals, and carrying out executions throughout the Middle Ages. Some ways were much crueler than others, and these 10 were among the most barbarous and merciless. There are a few things that have been cruel, like the cradle of Judas, torture with a saw, an anguished pear, and many more. The medieval era in Europe spanned from the 5th through the 15th centuries. Torture was often employed during this period to elicit confessions, the identities of accomplices, or other information regarding crimes. Laws and local traditions imposed no restrictions on how captives were treated or the degree to which torture might be administered. In reality, when so-called mild torture was utilized, admissions were not regarded as authentic or honest, such as toe wedging and strappado. Torture methods varied according to the victim's offense, gender, and social rank. Torturers with skill would utilize tactics, technologies, and equipment to extend life while causing severe agony. Many inmates were tortured before death to extract further information. In many of these instances, the manner of execution was part of the torture. There are several torture methods and instruments available, and before you continue on with our video, please be aware that some of these are quite explicit and unsettling. Number 1. The Cradle of Judas. A prisoner would be lowered using ropes above the pyramid-shaped seat, with the tip placed into the anus or vagina. Victims would be tormented by applying severe pressure to the orifice, causing lifelong injury. In many instances, the person died as a result of tears in the muscular tissue, which subsequently became infected. Weights were added to aid the impact, which often resulted in death by impalement. A similar effect was produced by a contraption known as the Spanish donkey or wooden horse. Victims were compelled to lay their complete body weight on their crotch, which rested on the point of the angle while straddling the triangle horse. Number 2. Torture with a saw. This was a kind of execution in which a live person was sawed in half through the center body mass, either longitudinally or transversely. Number 3. Anguished pear. During the Middle Ages, this horrible apparatus was used to punish women suspected of causing a miscarriage. It was also utilized as a form of punishment for liars, blasphemers, and homosexuals. The device was put into one of the prisoner's orifices, the vagina for women, the anus for homosexuals, and the mouth for liars and blasphemers, thus the nickname choke pear. The contraption had 4 metal leaves that gradually separated from each other when the torturer twisted the top screw. It might be used to shred the victim's skin or expand it to its maximum size to mutilate the victim. It seldom resulted in death, although it was often followed by other forms of torture. Number 4. Breaking wheel. This torture contraption, sometimes known as the Catherine wheel, was used to torment and execute inmates for public executions. Typically, the device was a big wagon wheel with radial spokes. Offenders were chained to the wheel and thrashed with a club or iron cudgel. The wheel's gaps enabled the limbs to give way and shatter. Surprisingly, the survival period after being broken may be lengthy, with some reports of victims lasting for many days before succumbing to their fatal injuries. Number 5. The iron chair. During the Middle Ages, this torture instrument was widely utilized. Victims would be put on the chair, which had hundreds of sharp spikes, and then iron shackles would be gradually tightened, pushing the spikes deep into the skin. This might go on for hours, if not days. The spikes did not pierce essential organs, and blood loss was kept to a minimum, at least until the victim was freed from the chair. Death was often the result. The iron chair was often employed as a psychological torture device. Captives would frequently confess after being forced to witness other inmates being tortured with the apparatus. Number 6. Head crushing. The gadget was essentially a head vice, progressively compresses the skull and facial bones. Even if the torturer stopped before death, irreversible harm would be done to the face muscles and structure. Number 7. Torture of rats. Torture has also been carried out using rats. A typical tactic was to drive a starved rat through a victim's body, generally the intestines, as a means of escape. Prisoners were entirely bound and tethered to the ground or other horizontal surfaces to make it function. The stomach of a rat was then enclosed in a metallic container that was progressively heated. The rat started looking for a route out, which had to go via the victim's body. Digging into the corpse took several hours on average, ending in agonizing and brutal death. Number 8. Breast ripper. This one is the worst, but that doesn't mean the others aren't bad too. It was mostly used on women who were accused of adultery, self-abortion, heresy, blasphemy, or being witches. It was also called the iron spider, and it was also used to question people. The torture device, which was often heated, had 4 claws that were used to slowly and painfully rip the breasts off. The instrument would be fastened to one of the woman's breasts. Her children sometimes got blood on them. If the woman didn't die, she would be scarred for the rest of her life. And that's it. Like our video and share it with your friends, and also make sure you subscribe to our channel, and thanks for watching.